Well, welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Gary Laustsen. I'm one of the professors in the School of Nursing at Linfield University, and we really appreciate you spending some time to connect with us and find out about our nursing program and what we're up to these days. I have to apologize. Dr. Kim Jones, who is the dean, was supposed to initiate this with an introduction and welcome, and she's been having technical issues with her connectivity today, and so she's still working on trying to get into this event, and hopefully may be able to do that in the next few minutes, but if not, we'll just go on and continue. So I do have some introductory comments that Kim has shared with me, so I'm going to start out by reading those, and then we'll talk about some other things related to our School of Nursing. Some of you are probably alumni of the School of Nursing, and welcome back to that. And some of you were just Linfield alumni. So we hope that one of the purpose of this event is to give you some updated information and that you can share that with your friends and colleagues that might be interested in Linfield and or in the School of Nursing at Linfield University. So this is the comments from Dr. Kim Jones, our dean. Linfield University's School of Nursing is proud of our heritage. Originally founded by Emily Loveridge, RN, in 1890 as the Good Samaritan Hospital Diploma Program, we are the oldest continually running School of Nursing in the Pacific Northwest. As such, our faculty and staff have the highest possible commitment to providing a compelling student experience that stands the test of time. We offer a high-touch, on-ground Bachelor of Science in Nursing program in both a traditional format for first-degree students and an accelerated format for students with a previous bachelor's degree. Our virtual campus is highly interactive and optimally connected. We offer a nationally ranked RN to BSN completion degree and an innovative new Master of Science in Nursing degree titled Healthcare Leadership in Healthcare Ecosystems. These rigorous yet flexible programs are designed to meet the growing needs of the healthcare industry while also providing work-life balance for working nurses. In order to meet the growing needs of growing demands of nurses in the workforce, we are moving to our new campus in Northeast Portland, and this will occur in the next semester, spring semester, sometime in January and February 2021. This new campus boasts a 700% increase in a high-tech simulation space where both undergraduate and graduate students can engage in complex clinical scenarios that parallel, anticipate, and amplify real-life situations. The new campus is designed to support student learning at the highest level, encourage impactful collaboration, and offer cutting-edge academic delivery tools. Importantly, our nursing curriculum is grounded by a strong 21st century liberal arts education. In short, this means that we develop lifelong learners who have the habits of mind to think critically and creatively. They are able to communicate effectively and to lead in increasingly complex, diverse environments. We educate nurses who embrace disruptive technologies and demonstrate leadership and curiosity during change. Linfield Nursing is educating students who are stepping forward to fill a global nursing shortage that has come into even sharper focus with the COVID-19 pandemic. If you are a current student, staff, faculty, or alumni, I want you to know that you inspire me, Dr. Kim Jones, with your commitment to excellence. If you're a prospective student or faculty, she personally invites you to join us and become a member of the Linfield family. So that ends Dr. Jones's introduction, and I'm sure she's sorry not to be able to deliver that personally. I want to just add on my own personal welcome to everyone and say a few things specifically about how nursing at Linfield is continuing to be innovative in addressing the needs of both undergraduate, baccalaureate level nursing, but also master's degree. We've been challenged and yet inspired by the work of our faculty who really stepped up when the pandemic hit and learned to very quickly but effectively transition to an all online program. That has become somewhat moderated in the fall semester by much greater return back to on-site clinical, although we have expanded and really developed our simulation programs to supplement the clinical experiences that our undergraduate students participate in. Faculty are continuing to both meet interactively with live lectures for the didactic portion of courses, but also to continue to expand and develop ways in which we can connect with our students through recorded and or other types of sessions that are done asynchronously through products like Zoom or other virtual platforms. I want to say a little bit more specific about the master's program. I am one of the coordinators for the Master's of Science in Nursing program, and I have pretty extensive experience with graduate education at previous institutions. Here at Linfield, we have what I think is a very, very innovative program. It's a leadership type master's program that focuses on producing people who can think of the healthcare system in a more broad and inclusive way. We call it the leadership in healthcare ecosystems. The implication being that healthcare is connected and has relationships with many other aspects of the world and not just contained within the hospital environment or the clinic environment. We see healthcare as connected to the communities in which they're embedded through regional connections, environmental connections with, and this becomes very evident these days, especially recently with our forest fires here in the Northwest and Oregon area, where we recognize that we can't just focus on healthcare related to what occurs within a hospital or within a clinic. We have to recognize that the environmental aspects of the world have a big impact on the healthcare of the populations we are pledged to serve. So it's a very timely type of program in that we see this need across many different professions for understanding that our professional life do not operate within a silo, but we're really connected to the world around us, both the professional world, but also the physical world, and understanding how those forces, the environmental forces, the technology forces, the healthcare forces, policy, politics, social life, have an impact. And those are all the different aspects of what we will be addressing in our master's program. It's what we call a generic leadership program. It's not designed to turn out advanced practice registered nurse, which are people like nurse practitioners, nurse midwives, nurse anesthetists. So it can be a foundation for people wanting to then move into that in the future. But our leadership masters is focused on just what we would call a generic leadership position, where when people graduate with this program, they're got an expanded background that can help them to become leaders in their current registered nurse position, or to seek new positions as leaders within a healthcare organization, whether that's an acute care type position, inpatient, or whether it's outpatient and or individual clinics, public health, Department of Health, any of those. We hope that our graduates can advance the work of those organizations. So I don't want to, we have a couple master's students that we've invited to share their stories a little bit. And so I know one of them does have to get to work here in a little bit. So I'm going to introduce both of those and let one of them go first, and then I'll let the others. So I want to welcome and introduce two of our current master's students, Melinda Close, or Mindy Close. She is actually a graduate of Linfield College, and I'll let her introduce more about herself, but also I want to introduce Richard Thomas and give him an opportunity to speak first, because Richard is one of our students who does have to go to work here in just a little bit. I currently don't see Richard as being connected, so either he's lost the connection, but we'll see if he comes back in. In the meantime, Melinda or Mindy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and tell the audience about your reasons for joining into the master's program.
Thank you, Dr. Laustsen. My name's Mindy, as most people call me. I am a certified wound ostomy continence nurse at Salem Health. I have the joy of working Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, which is banker's hours, I guess, but quite the hard schedule when you're trying to cram a lot of patients in 8 hours. So time management is of the essence. I wanted to come back and get my master's degree here at Linfield, because once a wildcat, always a wildcat. And I've always just kind of kept my eye out and made sure that Linfield was my top pick should I want to go back and get my master's. Other programs just didn't have the track that gave me a passion. I didn't feel like they would enhance my practice in any way until I saw the email from Linfield that said that they had this master's program, and there was this passion that ignited inside of me, and I knew that this was the track for me. And things that have happened with the recent COVID outbreak, I've had to step up my game a little bit as a wound nurse, but also be a leader within my organization. And so I just felt there were some things I was lacking, and needing to go back to school was put out there on the table. And my managers had actually said, you know, we have these great 4-hour classes here at our organization, and we could sign you up, and you know, you can attend these classes and it will enhance your leadership skills. But my thought was, if I'm going to spend 4 hours in a classroom, I want to make it work, and I want to make it to something that I actually get out of it, instead of just saying, hey, I attended a 4-hour class. I want to make it where I get the credit for it. So everything just kind of fell into place, I don't know, 3 weeks ago. And I started the MSN program here at Linfield, and I couldn't be happier. It's been, so far, knock on wood, not too bad.
Thank you, Mindy. I saw Richard Thompson made it back in. Richard, would you mind sharing? I know your visual isn't working so well, but if you'll share just some of your personal story about connecting with the Linfield program.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
And you're coming through just fine on the vocal.
All right, great. So I actually first heard about Linfield when I was a manager working for my health system, and I interviewed a candidate that very much impressed me. I hired her in, And quickly, she originally was scheduled to be a progressive care unit nurse. And the critical thinking that she was able to demonstrate really impressed us enough that we moved her directly to the intensive care unit. She then referred a friend, and from that one hire up in the Tacoma area, we ended up with 8 graduates from Linfield in a 3-year period, and we were impressed with their critical thinking skills. Every last one of them ended up in our ICU and has been an extreme success for our organization. So that was my first encounter with them. Then my wife's mother-in-law is a Linfield graduate from education some years ago. And when I started looking a couple of years ago for an advanced degree, because I wanted to do more in the field of nursing, most of the programs I was looking at focused on managerial and leadership just in a broad sense, and it really didn't seem to meet my needs as to where I thought the issues in healthcare were going to prepare me to be able to interact with others to try and change it. So I was at holiday at my mother-in-law and picked up at Linfield one of her alumni and saw reference to this program starting, and so then I researched it a little bit more, and so that's how I came on board. The concept of an ecosystem really appealed to me. I really like the inclusiveness from both a global and an environmental social aspect, and so that's what led me to Linfield.
Thank you very much, and feel free. I know you have to go to work here soon. We appreciate your comments, and glad that you're part of the program. I think one of the things Richard mentioned, which I want to emphasize, is Linfield has always been known for having their nursing graduates have a real emphasis on social justice and the concerns of people, and we want to continue that as a core principle of our master's program also. It appears in most all of our courses that relationship to social justice and caring for perhaps the underserved as part of our mission within the program. So I don't have anything more specific. Mindy, do you have any other comments you want to share? Or Richard, you feel free to join in and say anything more you want to share.
I don't have anything else, but would be willing to take any questions anybody has.
Ditto.
Maybe you can answer the question for me is, I mean, you both alluded to a little bit, but why do you see ecosystem focus as being something important for future nursing leaders?
Hi, this is Richard. I can speak to that. When you look at just our healthcare system, a lot of people refer to it as broken, and I take exception to that term. I've been in healthcare here for about 30 years, and for a system to be broken, it would have to establish that it was correct to begin with. I don't think we've ever been that place in this environment. And then when I see the care that we give and the objectives that we have for reimbursement on certain subjects, I don't think anything's really given thought to what that means globally for production, for wastage. I'll talk to one of the discussion points that we just had on one of the courses, came to waste in the hospital and what we do. And a lot of us have packaged enclosed waste from a patient's room on discharge, and we send it to organizations that use that in a third world country, and we pat ourselves on the back and think that's great. But I think we need to look at that practice and ask ourselves, why is it okay for them to use our discards without really looking at why is it not okay for us? There's a lot of waste going on. There's a lot of lack of emphasis on some of these third world countries, and we're impacting them in their health. We're using their land to create our resources to better our health without considering how it affects them in the long run. And I guess in my location, we get a lot of third world people coming to visit the country who come in ill, and seeing the condition that they are in and the lack of care that they had. We need to focus on the whole ecosystem instead of just the pieces that we are, and focusing on the individual here in the United States.
I saw a couple of questions that I can respond to. One of the things for the audience that's listening is, if you know of any nursing professionals that you feel have expertise as being a nursing leader, please send us those contacts, because one of the things that we think is so valuable to our students is to be able to interact, even though it may be asynchronously, but interact with other leaders in the profession and get their perspective about some of the coursework that they're going to be having. So anyone in the audience who is a nursing leader themselves or know others, that please give us that contact information, because even if they can record a 15-minute little bio about themselves and how they see the importance of a more ecosystem-focused healthcare system, that can be very helpful to our students. Or if they have particular expertise in finances, policy, informatics, any of those areas, it'll be helpful for adding that expertise to our students in our program. One of the questions was, what are our classes like, theoretical versus practical? It's actually different in a way, and this kind of program is not what we would call a clinical program, meaning students participate in direct patient care. But as a leadership program, our goal is to have our students learn to influence care of individual people or populations. So it's not a direct care type program, it's more of an indirect, but in many of their courses, they will be doing indirect practice-oriented projects. And so it's kind of a combination between learning theoretical concepts, book learning, so to speak, and then using those, whether it's current articles or current textbook content, and applying those theoretical and other learning aspects to practice-oriented projects. So many of the courses will have practice projects embedded in them. I'm teaching the first course here called Nursing 500. It's the kind of introduction to healthcare ecosystems course. And the students probably haven't really gotten involved into this yet, but one of the projects they're going to do is called a photo voice project, where they have to take pictures of aspects of the healthcare environment they're embedded in, and then use that to recognize how those pictures can result in improvements in healthcare practice. So it's a way in which the data is actually the pictures that they're going to take, and then they put those together into a paper to share with not only the faculty, but each other. So it's a combination of theoretical and practical, and we really want our program to be application oriented, and that when the students learn things in their course, they learn to apply those through practical ways in either their system they work within, or in some ways apply them to healthcare systems on a practical nature. And that gets more and more as they advance through the program. The very last course is very much called an integrated practicum, where they spend a lot of time working on a practicum project that integrates the content from all of the courses they've had into a final project. So we've been going here close to a half hour. I'll certainly open it back up to either Mindy or Richard if they have any additional comments, but I'll also stop talking for a while and look and see if there's any additional questions I can address.
I don't have a lot to say, Gary, but people might be thinking, I know I did, going back to school and carrying a full-time job and the caseload. You know, that's a huge question for a lot of people. Is this really for me? You never know until you try. And you can't go wrong going back to school. And so far, I found everybody's been pretty flexible with a lot of us who are working days or nights, weekends. At first, I was going to try the part-time, one class a term. And my advisor said, hey, you know, the first 2 classes are introductory. Why don't you try 2? And that would be a full-time student. And then if it doesn't work next term, go back down to 1. So, you know, at this point, mind you, we're starting week 3. It feels like it's going okay. And I have, fortunately, really good support at home and really good support at work. So, you know, I might just go ahead and keep doing my 2 classes so that I can graduate next summer. But it's totally doable. You just got to have the support.
Thank you, Mindy. I want to, we did devise the program with the working professional in mind. It is open to new graduates. We think we can accommodate a range of people with experiences, but we wanted to develop a program where people could, if they desired to, get through in 1 year. So it is possible to get your master's degree in 12 months. We have 8 classes with 4 credits each, and that will allow people to finish by next August if they decide to do the program in 12 months. But we also designed the program to have what probably feels like pretty heavy terms. They're only 10-week long. And so, but the reason we did that is it allows for people who have either work commitments or family commitments that to try to be adaptable to holiday breaks. And so our first semester finishes right before Thanksgiving. So people have the opportunity to be done with the first semester and then feel like they can go back into taking care of their families if that's what they're involved with. And same way over the Christmas holiday break period and New Year's break period, we don't have any actual classes meeting. Then we start up again after those holidays are over, and then we also finish before the typical spring break time period. So the whole idea was to try to make a schedule that was, as much as we could figure out, adaptable to people who are not only working, but also might have family commitments, and give them those opportunities to continue with being able to participate with their families, time periods where they might have a spring break or a Christmas break, a Thanksgiving break. There will be certainly a summer time period for classes. We didn't see any way to really have, but there will be a short break time between the spring semester and our summer semester. Somebody asked how many students in our MSN program. Currently, we have 13. We want to thank Richard because he was talking to one of his colleagues at work, and within like 5 days, this person was able to get all her admission materials in. We were able to review all of those and get her admitted in a very short time. So she's coming on board a little late, but I think she's not going to have any problem with catching up and getting into the swing of things. So we currently have 13 students. I believe 9 of those, or I think 7 or 8 or possibly 9 are full-time. I don't have the numbers in my head right now, but and then there's some of them that are full-time. For those that might want to either enroll themselves or advocate for this program for colleagues, our next start to the program is in the March semester, or the spring semester. It begins March 29th, I believe, but we have applications open right now. So anybody's able to put in an application and go through that process for the next start, which is in spring. The courses, there's only one prerequisite, and that's the Nursing 500 course that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the program. And then the other courses, all other courses can be taken except for the final courses in any sequence. So it's another way in which it's a very flexible program that people can kind of start and stop what fits their schedule. So the very first course has to be the one course, Nursing 500, that people take before other courses. And then the final course, the integrated practicum, has to be taken either at the end or when all other courses have been taken. So that's a good question about how the program interacts between part-time and full-time. We were very pleased to get able to have 13 students. It was a whirlwind to get the program approved through Linfield and everything developed, admissions policies, all that stuff. So we were very pleased that we could get started this fall, and so glad that we had a nice group of students that, and a nice variety of students. We have one student up in Ketchikan, Alaska. Most of our students are within the Northwest area and and the majority also have a connection with Linfield. But we do have some that are outside, and we certainly have it set up that people, we had one inquiry from somebody in Germany. She's still thinking about it, trying to figure out whether she can do it in the context of not having access to an organization over there. But our goal is to try to be flexible, but also we adhere to the standards of all master's programs, using the master's essentials as our basis for meeting those essentials. We get to see Richard temporarily there. Other questions, or Mindy or Richard, if you have any more comments, feel free to interject. Our dean, Dr. Kim Jones, is able to at least participate in a chat. So if you have any specific comments for her, she is reviewing those and responding to those. And even though she wasn't able to connect visually or through the audio with everybody else, but. We are hopeful to try and move to a way in which we can develop an RN to MSN program. We don't have that at the moment because we have to work with our State Board of Nursing regarding the BSN kind of requirement. But we hope, because we see a lot of opportunity in the future for students or people who have their registered nurse license and want to move right towards developing a master's. So we're hopeful that we might be able to find a way to sort of have an easy transition between our RN to BSN program and the RN to MSN program, because we see people out there who eventually want to have that leadership role with a master's degree, but also currently don't have the baccalaureate. So we hope we can find a way to see that transition into a program called an RN to MSN type program. Somebody asked a question, and maybe Richard or Mindy, for current students, what do you anticipate will be your toughest class? So if you have any inklings of what that might be and have a comment, I'll let you talk.
For me, it's going to be the finance and business plan type of class. I think that's coming up in winter or spring. That's that is just not in my wheelhouse. I, can think globally and I can think about the patients that we serve, but looking at budgets and executing those types of things, that is not something that is really my forte. But I've already lined up my tutor for the term, so I'm anxious to see what it actually brings and the knowledge that I can gain from it.
I don't think there's any particular course I'm really worried about. One of the things I came into it is knowing that I was weak on statistics, and this was a concern for me. But I can say that having started the program and we're just now entering that area, that the support we've been getting from the professors is profound. So I don't think I'm going to really have the struggle I thought I was going to on that. So I'm very grateful.
It may not have been apparent, or I may not have mentioned it, but our program is what would be called an asynchronous online program. And again, that helps to support the variety of our students in their personal lives and their professional lives, meaning it's asynchronous so that students are not required to attend any specific classes, lectures, anything like that. Now, we will have events that will be certainly open to students to attend live, but they will not be required, and anything like that will hopefully be recorded so other students can participate. But that asynchronous allows for students who might be working night shift. Richard is about ready to go to work here at 6 p.m. So because he's now going to shift to a night shift time period for his current job. And that allows people who have a variety of either shift work where they're alternating or not having to give up their work in any way or adjust their work schedule in order to be able to participate in the class. So that asynchronous, it does, we all would like to be able to perhaps connect with each other a little bit more. And so we hope to have opportunities where it's opportunities to connect with the faculty and students on a somewhat social and maybe not classroom type way, but more informal meetings so that students and faculty can develop that collegial relationship, which is such a big part of graduate education. So we will continue to do that. We had an informal Get Acquainted event last week, and we had students and faculty join together during that, and we will certainly continue to offer those opportunities, plus things that occur at Linfield that may not be directly a part of the nursing program, but are events that we feel are worth having our students informed about and participate if they have the opportunity. So trying to be flexible, but also trying to develop a cohort that's connected to each other as well as to their faculty is what our goal is. Richard, any parting comments? I know you are getting ready to move on to your shift here, and we didn't anticipate going much more than an hour anyway with this session, but I do, if you do have to leave, I do really appreciate, I know, these students have only been a part of the program for 3 weeks, and many of them got admitted only towards the end of August. So it's so wonderful that they were willing and able to participate in this event without much background or involvement in the program so much. So I want to again thank Richard especially and Mindy for participating in this event for us, because I think it's so important to hear the voice of the student and how they decided to come into our program. So a big thank you to Richard and Mindy again for your participation in this homecoming event for Linfield.
Thank you. The only thing I would say is that the program so far is far exceeded my expectations for the interactiveness, even though it's asynchronous, the support, and the scholarship that we're learning. So thank you.
Mindy, any parting comments?
Nope, I'm just grateful that I echo what Richard said. It's so far been really nice with all the support from our colleagues and professors. Everybody's just been really flexible and helpful for those of us trying to navigate our way through going back to school. So it's just been nice. And I do have to say, this is my first homecoming at Linfield ever. So it's kind of new and different as coronavirus is taking over.
All right, any more questions from the audience if you have? I think I can speak personally for myself. I really am so glad to be able to be a part of this. My background had originally been as an environmental scientist. I had started as a high school science and biology teacher and then got a master's degree in environmental sciences and did that professionally for about 12 years in a variety of positions. And then eventually I migrated my way into nursing, and when I worked on my PhD, I really wanted to have an opportunity to kind of marry my background in environmental sciences with nursing. And so it's kind of great now. I feel so privileged to be able to be a part of the Linfield program, which really kind of emphasizes that role of looking at healthcare as a ecosystem, and that thinking of environmentalism involved in bringing that into the healthcare world is so necessary, I think, and I feel so at home in being able to participate in this as a faculty member and as one of the coordinators for the program. So I really am so glad that Linfield has been able to advance this program ahead and to focus it on not only meet the expectations of masters in nursing, but also to look at this new kind of way of addressing leadership and looking at a more broader perspective of our nursing leaders. So I am also grateful to be a part of this program. Kaylee, I know you're listening there. Is there anything more you would like us to talk about? Or if I don't see any other questions coming in, but there you are.
No, I think that'll do it. So thank you all so much for taking the time to join us, and everyone who joined us live and in the chat section. It was fantastic. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night and you come back and enjoy some more homecoming events. But thank you, Gary, Mindy, and Richard so much, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.